Hi there, good evening. So, we meet once again at BYJU'S exam prep in order to work on some more questions so that we can be even better prepared for SNAP. So, how's everyone doing? I think I need to take you through the original basic slide instead of showing you the questions straight away. So, how are we all doing today? What's up? What is happening? In this particular session, we will sit down together and work on quite a few SNAP kind of questions so that when you encounter those questions in the exam, you feel comfortable. And because we are starting a little late today, I hope that you are ready for a longish session and that you've had your dinner, etc. Why am I even saying etc.? I hope that you've had your डिनर है ना. ये एटसेट्रा में क्या आएगा, जो आता है वो जनरली लेना नहीं चाहिए सेशंस के पहले. हाँ, सो टेल मी, हाउ आर यू डूइंग? एंड now that you have gone through a detailed analysis of or analyses of the previous two SNAP papers, is there an area that specifically bothers you? I'm sure quite a few of you must have been very relieved by the fact that there is no RC. Always attractive for us, right? But then thereafter, when you see a lot of vocabulary based questions and some of those novel new question types, you probably may have your own concerns. So is there a specific concern that you have after going through those analyses? And I'm calling it analyses because you know that we have this noun called analysis. The plural of this noun is SES, so analyses. So what's happening? Please take prefix suffix questions. Arey Viren, that will be a bit of a challenge. Now that it is a last minute demand, I'd struggle to add them to the PPT, but then we did not have prefix suffix based questions this time around so far, no? We did get a couple of them in IFT, but if you knew the meanings of the words, they became easy. Earth to India, yeah, I couldn't really understand this question. Scaffold or threshold? Wala, as in, are you talking about the SNAP exam that happened yesterday? Was there a question around this? Because I did not sit for the slot yesterday. Nikita ma'am did, and she will definitely have a session where she'll take you through all the questions. Okay, Bhumika, standard order, they're actually very easy. I can share the concepts with you for sure. Okay, then Viren, the PPT is ready. Unfortunately, because we did not have the questions this year on prefix suffix, I did not include them here. So to India, okay. I haven't really gone through slot 2 as in I did not really appear for the exam. The SNAP 2, Nikita ma'am did. I'm sure she'd come and talk about it. Otherwise, you know, if you ask me, compound words are a word created by joining two words, and there are 3 varieties of it. Yes, Pranav, she will definitely have. In fact, we will have a detailed analysis of every exam. Okay, what we have taken you through is only the first brush. So those of you who are just joining us right now, if you're already a part of BYJU'S family, if you're already subscribed to our channel, welcome back. In case you're somebody new here, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that we meet each other very regularly. We have planned, as you can see, a SNAP marathon today. So we go ahead and have a lot of SNAP kinda general English questions. And I'd be more than happy to take you through the concepts of those questions that I may not have incorporated in today's particular class. Okay, so shall we start? Shall we start? Shall we roll? Right, so here are the directions for the first 3 questions. Every question has a sentence. That sentence will have an underlined word, and you are supposed to pick up a word from the options which is nearest in meaning, or in other words, the first three questions are going to test your understanding of synonyms. To be even more specific, your understanding of the contextual synonyms, right? So ready? So here is the first question on your screen, and your time starts now. Okay, so the time is up, and our answer here should be, now before I share that, let some more people think I'll keep talking about the words. What does repulse mean? Repulse means to drive back. Repulse means to drive back an attack, usually by bringing in some counter force or counter measures, right? And we are looking for a synonym of repulse here. So defeat, kind of, you don't allow that other party to succeed. That is what repulse would generally be. So have you managed to defeat the party? Not necessarily so, but it at least tells you that you did not allow them a victory. Destroy. Destroy in this sense will be a higher degree of defeat. So we can definitely rule out destroy. Reject. Nah, reject is to refuse to accept something, right? So we can remove it. Repel. Well, repel basically is going to be a perfect synonym, right? Repel essentially is to push back. So if I look at these four words and I know that I'm looking for a synonym, the best answer choice is option D. So I had my doubts about defeat, right? That is why I put a dot here. So when you drive your attacker back, does that mean that you've defeated your attacker? Not necessarily so. It just means that you've denied your attacker victory as far as that particular wave of attack goes. So we can go ahead and create even synonym based questions where the different words can be very close, and that can lead to a higher difficulty level, right? So there you go. And here is your next question. Once again, those of you who are joining in, you'd find a sentence with a word underlined. Your job is to talk about the synonym of that underlined word. Go ahead, give me your answer. Oh, I forgot to start the timer. All right, so what is your answer this time around? Let us see. Okay, right now I'm looking at you. When I look here, I'm actually reading your answers. Oh, okay, so the meanings first. What do you understand by the word derogatory? So if a remark is derogatory, then it means that it is a remark that is belittling. It basically, or to in fact simplify it further, it is a remark that the other person is likely to find offensive, right? And we are looking for a synonym. So let's start. What is the meaning of the word calumnious? Calumnious means saying things which are false and damaging to someone's reputation. So when you say something which you know is false, but you say it in order to defame somebody, we'll call those statements calumnious. Complimentary. When you if a statement is complimentary, you're using it to praise someone. Panegyrical, panegyry is praising someone to a very high degree, okay? Praising someone a lot by saying only the good things and not even a single bad thing. And then you have ballyhoo. Ballyhoo basically means a lot of noise and activity, often without any real purpose, right? Think of a lot of movies where they engage in a lot of PR. They end up creating a lot of noise around that movie, but then you go and watch it and it turns out to be very underwhelming. They're like, oh my God, what did I just watch? Any example of any such movie? If you are able to think of it, share it with me. Let's see. So now that we know the meanings, we know a derogatory remark is a negative remark. The only word that suggests a negative remark here is calumnious, and that is why our answer here should be option A. And I'm actually surprised that none of you really none of you watched any such movie that you found all hype and no substance. Huh? Anyhow, here is your next question. Once again, you are supposed to give me a synonym of the underlined word, and your time starts now. Doctor Strange. Oh, unearth. You've written Doctor Strange, and now you are likely to face the wrath of some people in the comment box. भाई ये मार्वल वाले मूवीज के बारे में मत बोला करो यार. फ्लेम वो उस ना फिर वॉर शुरू हो जाती है कई बार. So shall we start? भेड़िया तो मैंने देखी भी नहीं भाई प्राक्षी. और अब now that you've told it to me, I'm not going to watch that either. So let's start with the meaning of the word perfunctory. Okay, so there are times when you go to a family function where you look at everybody, you don't even know half of them. You're not even genuinely interested in quite a few of them. But what do? You nonetheless smile. And that smile has no genuine interest or warmth or care behind it, right? So we can say that such kind of a smile is a perfunctory smile. So perfunctory is anything which is done quickly, without taking care or without having any real interest, right? So, and we are looking for a synonym. So what do you think? Thorough and complete, that will be an antonym. We can rule it out. Supercilious. What is supercilious? Supercilious is somebody who is arrogant, high-browed. Or as we call it in Hindi, nak chadha. Here is another synonym, haughty. So ये HOTTIE वाला haughty नहीं है, okay? This is HAUGHTY वाला haughty, which shows that you are arrogant. Then see, done as a routine but without interest, that's pretty close. And I think all of us know the meaning of the word intensive, something that involves a lot of effort in a short period of time. For example, this SNAP marathon, it is an intensive session where you and I are going to put in a lot of effort for a short, not that short, but a fairly short period of time. And I really salute you for joining in and putting in this effort with me today. So the answer to the third question is option C. है ना, एक तो मंडे, ऊपर से लेट नाइट सेशन. मंडे वैसे ही जनरली लोगों को अच्छे नहीं लगते ना बहुत बार. So here comes the next set of questions. Here are your directions. Once again, you would find sentences with an underlined word, but this time around you are supposed to pick up something that is farthest in meaning, or in other words, it is going to be kind of contextual antonyms. I am saying kind of because I can actually create a question where the directions ask you to choose the farthest one, and none of them is really an antonym. In fact, all of them could be synonyms, right? It's all about spending that time and care in designing the options, right? Okay, here you go. So fourth question on your screen, and you are supposed to give me the antonym of the underlined word. Your time starts now. So I can understand, Anant, does happen at times. Oh, Yatish, that was quick. That was quick, if nothing else. Okay. Well, Larry, is it really tricky? Which two options are you confused between? So let us see. Gregarious. So since somebody talked about prefixes and suffixes, let us sneak in some of it here. So in this particular word, gregarious, you happen to have a root word, which means root word greg, which essentially means group. Okay. And then you have this suffix ous. Ous generally means full of, and it usually converts a word into, it usually suggests that the word that you're dealing with is an adjective. So gregarious typically means somebody who likes being in a group, or somebody who, or an entity that lives in a group. So for example, I can say rabbits are gregarious animals. They always stay in groups. And a lot of us, there was a hint here, my friend is an outgoing person and is very gregarious. So these people would love to be surrounded by others. They're going to be very uh, party loving, and people who generally have a large circle kind of individuals. So let us look at in fact, I wrote the IFT yesterday, and we had another word in IFT based on this root, and the word was egregious. An egregious act is an act so evil that you are thrown out of the group. So Greg is group. This root word X, this prefix X means out, and then of course you have this OUS. You've also heard of some more words based on this root. Remember aggregate, segregate. Okay, what is iridescent? What should this be? So something is iridescent when it has a lot of bright colors that change when you look at it from different directions. So I have very recently gone through a fairly long wedding season where at every party, every function, I saw some people dressed up in those iridescent clothes, shining, bright, and that change colors when you look at them from different angles. Okay, unsociable. Unsociable is a person who does not like to meet people or does not like to spend time with them. So that's unsociable for you. Above reproach. What is reproach? Reproach means to criticize someone, especially for not being successful or for not doing what is expected. So if somebody is above reproach, then it means that that person cannot be criticized. For example, our parents, no matter how much you grow up, no matter how successful you become, they never think of us as people who are above reproach. And then you have unlovable. I don't even need to tell you what this means, but okay, I'd nonetheless say. So an unlovable person is a person who is not easy to love. So because we are looking for an antonym, I think our answer has to be option B. Right? Rajan and Vallari are talking about extroverts, introverts. Once again, vert basically means turn. Intro and extro, I don't even need to tell you, right? Okay, here is your next question on your screen. Those of you who are joining in now or who are likely to forget, we are looking for antonym and your time starts now. I am facing a slightly higher lag in my session today. I don't know what happened. Normally, you and I have a lag of typically around 13, 14, 15 seconds. It appears to be a little higher today. So, where are the answers? Until then, let me start sharing the meanings. So, ostensibly is an adverb. We use it to talk about something that looks one way, but underneath that there is the hint of a different motivation for that action. Superficially देखोगे तो एक तरह की दिखेगी, लेकिन actually in reality अगर if you dig deep तो ना कोई different सा motivation मिलेगा. हाँ, for example, what if you see a person going to an ice cream shop, and then that person goes to the ice cream shop the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day. You know, you keep going to that ice cream store. But in reality, you are not interested in the ice cream. You are actually interested in a cute person who works there, perhaps. So in that case, I'll say that you go to that store ostensibly to buy ice cream. So when you ostensibly do something, it means that the surface reason is not the actual real reason. Okay, so it's a facade. So elaborately, can that be our answer? Elaborate is something that includes a lot of detail. Really is really. Vaguely is something that is not clearly expressed. Something that is not clearly described, usually because you did not want to state the truth or state the reality with that person. And then candidly basically means something that is done in a very honest, very frank manner. So when you talk about something very difficult or painful or challenging in a very open manner, in a very frank manner, then we say that you talked about it candidly. So if I have to pick one option, and remember we are looking for antonym. When you do something ostensibly, you are concealing your real reason. Whereas when you are candid, you direct, you state the truth. So given these four answer choices, our answer is going to be option D. Rajan is saying, in my case, yes. But I'm sure you don't go to the ice cream store. Which place do you go to ostensibly for buying something? हाँ, ये सही है यार. ये late evening sessions में हाँ राज खुलते हैं तुम्हारे हैं. Okay, the next one, the sentence is on your screen and I am asking you for the antonym and your time starts now. Okay, so vituperative is acerbic, caustic, harsh, biting. कोई ऐसी चीज जो बहुत चुभे, बहुत बुरी लगे, that is vituperative. So we are looking for antonym, right? So you say something very negative. Okay, joyous is full of joy. Commending is praising. We all know what critical is. This is a synonym, so definitely ruled out. If somebody is virtuous, it means that he is full of virtues. That is, he has a lot of good moral qualities. So it is not related to vituperative as such, so we can rule it out. So between joyous and commending, see, in vituperative you are saying negative things, in commending you are saying positive things, so the answer should be B. So the opposite of joyous is, remember, sad, melancholic, okay, depressed. These are the kind of words that you would think of as antonyms of joyous. Somebody who says bad things, somebody who says harsh things, the opposite should be somebody who says pleasing or pleasant things, right? So that is why commending over joyous. So we at times need to dig deep, look at that exact meaning and figure out which one of the two close answer choices to choose. ऐसे यार कभी कभी दिमाग लगाते हैं सवाल बनाने में. So there are times when we put in that effort and energy in creating a question where we deliberately try to mislead you. So if you look at this question, the beauty here is that I don't think the words are very challenging. The words are pretty everyday, most of them, right? But we still had to think. Okay, so with the antonyms done, here is your next set. 4 questions. Every question gives you a sentence. The sentence is divided into 3 parts. One of these 3 parts may contain a grammatical error. So if there is a part that indeed contains a grammatical error, mark the letter associated with that part as your answer. In case you think that the sentence is all right, there is nothing wrong here, then you would have this 4th option, D, no error, and that is the one that you would go ahead and mark. Okay, so the question on your screen and your time starts now. Ready? I'll give you a hint. This is a question that is created out of confusing pairs. Or you can also think of it as a question that is created out of the concept of irregular verbs, regular and irregular verbs. So let us see. Okay, so let's start. The noted criminal, nothing wrong here. The noted criminal Kartar Pal was hung at the Tihar jail. Hung. When we give, so we have this verb called hang. What is the second and third form of hang? Hung and hung. But then we use hung when you put an object on a wall or a ceiling somewhere. When you give capital punishment to an individual, then you do not use hung. In that case, you use hanged as the second and the third form. And because in this sentence there is a person who is given the capital punishment, notice we should not have used hung, we should have used hanged, and that is why our answer here should be B. Just replace hung with hanged. I think most of you have actually managed to get this right. Some of us also felt that C is wrong. What can be wrong in C? Maybe some of you felt that the is wrong, but then you notice we can use the with the some important landmarks or famous buildings, etc. And Tihar is a very well-known building, a very well-known jail, right? So that is why B. So now you know the difference between hung and hanged. Next. Before I discovered this bar, I used to go home over work. No error. Your time starts now. Okay, because this sentence uses bar, let me add a statutory warning. Drinking liquor is injurious to your health and nobody at BYJU'S exam prep promotes it. Right? We're just using it in a sentence, in a question, okay? So, the correct answer here should be C. It is a problem of prepositions, should have been after. Overwork would be you do some other activity along with work, but here it should have been after, and I think everybody has got you right. Interestingly, one of you is also named Arindam Kumar Bar. Arindam? Must be a question that has become very close to you, right? Okay, here is the next one. And your time starts now. I will be very interested in Who gets this one right? If you get this one right, you are going to get a pat on your back from me. मतलब solid, मतलब ये सही करा तो खतरनाक. अच्छी तैयारी है तुम्हारी ग्रामर की. Let's see. Okay, Shahbaj. Aryan, Arey Amandeep, you go home. You do not go to home. Oh, oh ho. क्या बात, क्या बात. Every answer is right. It is indeed option B. Now, bonus marks. Can you tell me what is wrong with B? What's wrong here? So, what is wrong? Very good job done. You know, if you've picked B, amazing. So, why B? So, you remember that when we have these three different types of pronouns, first person pronoun, second person pronoun, third person pronoun. And what is the sequence or order in which we write those three pronouns? Hoy Ram, you and me, oh my God, no! You cannot change the I into me, come on. Seriously, no. If you do that, you would actually make it wrong. Okay, what is the difference between I and me? I acts as a subject, whereas me is used as an object. Now, just focus on this part. What is the subject here? The subject is you and I. So, the I is correct. We will not change that I into me, but we'll change their sequence, we'll change their order. It should have been I and you. Now see, normally the sequence is third person and then second person and then first person, or alternatively second person, third person and then first person. These are the two normal ways of arranging three different pronouns. Remember first person, second person, third person from your school days. But in a sentence, if the persons are accepting the blame, if the speaker is accepting the blame for something, notice responsible for the loss, we are the ones who are to be blamed, then the sequence is first person, second person and then third person, and that is why it should have been I and you instead of you and I. That's what is wrong with B. Okay. I'm really glad that I asked you for why you marked B. We at least could dispel a misconception. Prakshi, why would only be a problem? I mean, you know how we identify subjects, right? The easiest way out is use who or what before a verb to create a question. So, who are responsible for the loss? You and I. So, that's a subject, right? So, obviously as a result we need to retain the I. Somebody's okay. Pranav, we use but to join two contrasting ideas. What are we saying in the first part? There is nobody else to blame, which means that we are the ones to blame, and that is exactly what the next part says as well. So they are similar, and if they are similar, can we use but? No. So no, the use of but is going to be incorrect here. Okay, next one. Question number 10 on your screen. Your time starts now. Devender, me is used as an object in a sentence. We were dealing with the subject there. You cannot use me as a subject. For example, can I say, me is going to call you tomorrow? No, we say, I am going to call you tomorrow, right? So when you use a subject, you don't use me. You use it as an object. No, talk to me. I saw, no, he saw me buying a pack of cigarettes and informed my father. That's how you use it. Okay, so let us see. So far I've gotten C, I have received D, I've also received one A. Now, Rutik, you and I am will be incorrect. When you join two nouns using and, they become plural, and therefore the verb that you use must also be plural. So we're still talking about the previous question, apparently. How about 10th? Okay, so can you tell me the subject of this verb is? What is the subject of this verb is? So here is a clause. The subject of this clause is who. And I'm going to write a lot of technical words so that you can at least refer to the right area after the session. When you use who or which or that in this manner, they are known as relative pronouns. Okay. Now the deal is, a relative pronoun, whenever it acts as a subject, it takes the number of the noun or the pronoun that it refers to. Right? So it takes the number. Relative pronouns take the number. Number means whether it is going to be singular or plural, and person, first person, second person, third person, of the noun that they referred, noun or pronoun that they refer to. So in this particular sentence, the who refers to I, which means that the verb here needs to agree with I. So who will be treated as a first person, and that is why instead of is, we need to use am. I, who am your friend, will guard your interests. And therefore, the correct answer here is option B. Stuti says, shouldn't there be another comma after friend? You are absolutely spot on. Yes, that is another mistake with this part. You need to add that comma here. What a sharp eye, huh? Absolutely. Pranav, correct. So the correct answer here is B, I who am your friend. So it was, I think this is one of those questions where I did not get a single right answer. That's a little surprising. So once again, if you want to dig deeper, what can you do? You can go to our Telegram group and ask me your specific doubt there, or you can go ahead and read up a little more about the relative pronouns as subjects in a clause. Okay, shall I take you to the next question, or would you want to ask anything? All right, 11th question, and your time starts now. Here is a hint. This is a question based on your understanding of tense. Manan, we do have an All India ZAT mock going on. I'm not very sure about an open mock for SNAP. Yeah, I do have people from my team involved here. Yeah, somebody in the team, can you please confirm if we have an open, free open mock for SNAP as well? And a lot of you have actually got it right. Yes, the answer is B. It should have been, has been going on. So when you see that something is going on right now, at the moment of present, you use the continuous tense. But the moment you are given this additional information of when that activity started or for how long that activity has been going on. जब भी ये एक्टिविटी जो ऑनगोइंग थी, ये कब शुरू हुई थी या कितनी देर से चल रही है, the moment you find one of these two things given to you, you are supposed to switch over to present perfect continuous instead of present continuous, and that is why B is the Right answer. Na. Stuti, we use since to talk about the moment at which an action started. We use for to talk about duration. So 3 years is a point of time or a duration. So if you use since, they'll actually make it incorrect. Okay. Also, Bhumika is saying that we do have a free snap mock available on the website. I don't know. I'm just asking somebody, maybe somebody in the team can perhaps clarify it. Otherwise, you can just try it. Just go to the app and then check. Maybe. Right. And here is the next set of questions. So you will find a sentence with one or two blanks, and you are obviously supposed to fill those blanks from the options given to you. So this is a question that we conventionally typically call FIBs, fill in the blanks. Yep, Devendra, absolutely, running for 3 years is correct. We won't use since. Okay, so your first fill in the blank question is on your screen. I'll give you 10 extra seconds. I'll start the timer after 10 seconds so that you are not under undue pressure. But mind you, Snap does put you under a lot of pressure, right? This is going to challenge some of you. Okay. So, to refute means to prove something wrong. And that something is basically some kind of argument. Can you refute foul play? You can refute someone's argument. You can refute someone's allegations. You can prove an argument wrong. You can prove someone's allegations wrong. But can you prove a foul play as wrong? Think. We all know what declining means. Declining can mean diminishing in numbers. Declining can also mean to refuse to accept an offer. So if somebody declines your invitation, that's the second meaning at play. Refusing, we already know refuse means to show your unwillingness towards something. And then denying is to declare something as false, as untrue. So in deny you declare, in refute you prove. So the person is not proving something else false. He's simply saying that people who say there is a foul play, those people are wrong. He's declaring it. He's not proving it. That is why D over A. The entire game in this question was A versus D. I just wanted to test your understanding of refute and deny thoroughly. Okay, and here comes our next question on your screens, and this is smaller, so give you 5 seconds nonetheless. Denying is to declare something as false, and then of course Vallari, I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. If I'm not, just write the phonetic spelling. A single word can have multiple meanings. Deny is a simple word. It does have this other meaning as well that you're sharing. But it's used in some very specific contexts. Okay, your time starts now, and I hope by now you have thought it through. Notify means to inform. pacify. If you pacify somebody who is angry, somebody who is upset, then it means that you've succeeded in making them calm. You've succeeded in making them feel pleased. Okay. Then plagiarize is to take the work of someone else or to take an idea that belonged to someone else and then pass it off as your own idea. That's plagiarize. And then you have motif. Motif is a decorative image or a decorative design element, especially one that has been repeated to form a pattern. Okay. So motif, design element, something to design element the critics. You realize motif is a noun. It won't even fit in. You need to have a verb here. So D is definitely out. Is this a serious step or is this just something to notify the critics? Doesn't make much sense, right? Plagiarize the critics. You can plagiarize from someone. You don't plagiarize a person. You can plagiarize an essay, an invention, not a person, right? So the only word that you're left with then is pacify. There are people who are criticizing you. You're just trying to make them happy with what you're doing. So you're pacifying them. So there is somebody who's asking, is this a serious step or you're doing it just so that your critics become happy? So B, pacify makes sense in this particular context. Arpita, how do you copy the critics? Or maybe you were sharing the meaning of the word. Okay, here is your next question. What's your answer? Okay, so you notice dash are among the most valuable molecules. So whatever you put in here in the first blank has to be a molecule, right? So we can rule out capsules. We can rule out capsules for sure. They're not molecules. And they are most valuable molecules in medicine today because of their ability to dash microorganisms like bacteria. So we know that bacteria would generally trouble us, bother us. So let's just try. Antibiotics destroy bacteria, at least it makes sense. Steroids have this ability to replicate microorganisms, therefore they are useful, doesn't make sense. Nutrients are among the most valuable molecules. Nutrients are once again not molecules, can be ruled out, and therefore the best answer is A. Or even if we say that okay, nutrients can be referred to as molecules, you notice nutrients are among the most valuable molecules in medicine today. Because of their ability to nourish microorganisms like bacteria, why would you want to nourish the bacteria? And why will they be the most valuable molecule in medicine? Logically, it is not a very sound sentence. And thus, the best answer is option A. So, these few questions happen to be slightly more challenging as compared to what you're typically likely to find in synonyms, but moving in SNAP, moving forward, you'd find that the difficulty level will be closer to general English. So, your time starts now. Okay. Wow, very quick off the ground, huh? Mohit, Sahil, Ronak, Ankit. Good. What else? At least engaged. Okay, so here is my take. If I look at the first blank, barbed wire can go. You remember barbed wire? these wires with these spikes are basically barbed wires. So barbed wire, yes, but ironed wire, iron किया हुआ, इस्त्री किया हुआ, press किया हुआ wire doesn't make any sense. Fragile wire, will you have a fragile, easy to break wire next to the world's most militarized border? No, so highly unlikely. And a wire cannot be acerbic. Acerbic is something that is very harsh or very bitter. So wire can't possess these qualities, and that is why, going by the first blank itself, our answer should be option A. What is the meaning of crow's feet? Anybody? What do you understand by crow's feet? Let me make it more specific before somebody says the feet of the crow. No. In a human anatomy, there is a part that is called crow's feet. Which part? It's on a human body, there is an area, there is a part for which you can use crow's feet. So what would that be? बताओ बताओ किसको बोलते हैं crow's feet? Let us see. और इसमें वैसे भी this sentence also talks about soul. So it's kind of the question is kind of connected with soul. Nah. Okay, so let me give you the meaning. So, you know, people when they grow old, they develop wrinkles on their face, right? And then there are these wrinkles that are found next to the eyes here. So the wrinkles that form here in the radiating pattern, those wrinkles specifically are called crow's feet. It's not about distance. And it's connected to soul because, you know, Korean makeup, Korean skincare is very popular. I see a lot of people following that on Instagram. So they have a lot of things that can fix the crow's feet. Okay. So that said, let's move over to the next set now. So 5 questions where every question will give you an idiom. Your job is to pick up the correct meaning for that idiom. Yes, Sonia and Stuti, both of you are absolutely spot on. Mohit, yes, you were also quite close. Ready? Here is your first question, the idiom, and your time starts now. So, well, a gentleman at large basically refers to, okay, the correct answer here is A. A person who does not have a steady job or any serious occupation is known as a gentleman at large. So, for example, say ever since he sold off his business, he is now a gentleman at large. No steady job, no serious occupation that he is involved in. So A. A very misleading idiom, right? Somehow you look at gentleman and you're likely to go with B or D. You're unlikely to see A as the answer, but that's how it is. Here is the next question. Come on, let's just keep it rolling. No flies on you, and your time starts now. Okay, so the correct answer for question number 17 is D. If a person has no flies on him, it basically means that the person is very, so it generally has 2 meanings. The first is the person is very smart, clever. You can't fool that person. Okay, and the other is a person who acts or works very quickly, does not settle, does not remain steady for long, does not remain still for long. I shouldn't even say steady. So, for instance, if I say, uh, hey, if you're a younger sibling, then you probably relate with that. The elders in the family, particularly the elder siblings, they constantly try to make the younger ones work. But some of these younger siblings are smart, they're very sharp. They are always able to see through the plan of the elder sibling and somehow avoid doing their chores, avoid doing the tasks that they assign. So, I can create a sentence out of it. She always sees through her brother's plan to make her do the chores. She has no flies on her, I tell you. Okay, so that's how we go ahead and use it. So D. Alright. Okay, next one. Warp and woof. And the time starts now. Done. So the correct answer to question number 18 is, let us see, is option D. So warp and woof refer to the integral or the fundamental aspect of something. When the fabric is made, you make a fabric using the threads. So there are these threads that run lengthwise. They are known as the warps. And then there are threads that run across. They are known as the woofs. So warp, the standing lines, woofs, the sleeping lines. So that is how you make you make a fabric. So warp and woof is the essential, the core elements or ingredients of something, the fundamental ingredients, the foundation. For instance, say India's constitution and diversity are the warp and woof of our nation. Right? So therefore D. So got nothing to do with dogs, even though it has a woof in it. और स्नैप के जनरल इंग्लिश में आते हैं क्वेश्चंस 15. इन द एग्जाम यूड गेट 15 जनरल इंग्लिश क्वेश्चंस. वी ऑलरेडी रीच्ड क्वेश्चन नंबर 18. डोंट वरी, लेट्स कंटिन्यू टू वर्क. हैव पेशेंस, लेट्स हैव अ लॉन्गर सेशन टुडे. वो I heard this couplet long ago, I don't know, but I think that's somehow relevant. फिर यूं हुआ कि सब्र की उंगली पकड़ के हम इतना चले कि रास्ते हैरान हो गए. So we remained patient, we continued to work, and it so happened that we managed to amaze everyone, surprise everyone, even the path that we were walking on. So let's remain patient, let's stick to our agenda, let's continue to work, and hopefully we'd also be able to create miracles. So the next one, cup of joe, and the time starts now. Okay, so this is a fairly straightforward one. Damn, I tried to figure out the origin of this particular idiomatic expression, but I couldn't. But the correct answer is A. A cup of coffee can also be called a cup of joe. Right? So it's not joy, it is not joey, cup of joe. It simply means a cup of coffee. So I need my cup of joe to start my day on the right note. Okay, next one. To get someone's goat. And the correct answer here, Arey, Danial. Yeah, idioms are not confusing. Idioms are like vocabulary, right? They're just like words. You either know the meaning of a word or you do not. Same goes with idiom. So if you met an idiom today whose meaning was not known to you, it's a good thing because now you know that idiom. Now you've added something more to your kitty, to your repertoire, right? So the correct answer here is option C. When you get someone's goat, you irritate or annoy somebody a lot. So for example, we can say that, oh, that person, he looks very calm and very composed, but I know a way to get his goat. It means that I know how to irritate or annoy him. I know how to make him lose his calm. No, or say, it really gets my goat when I see some boys eve tease a woman. Irritates me no end. I hate that. So therefore, C. So that takes care of our idioms. And now let us venture into some concept-based areas that we have been, that the exam has been giving questions from. So you remember active and passive voice? If you have any questions about active passive voice, you can ask these now before I take you over to the actual questions, and then we can talk about these. So the examiner has often given an active passive voice based question in the exam where a sentence is provided followed by 4 answer choices. We are supposed to change the voice. Pranav, that is going to be a risky strategy. I mean, idioms are not generally interpreted literally, so it's like guessing, right? But yes, I think we usually have a higher confidence in our guess. We may or may not be right still, but let's see. We can try that someday. We can experiment. Ready? No questions? Okay. So I won't have a timer. I will wait for 6 answers. The moment I receive 6 answers in the comment box, I will start explaining. Here is the first one. So you have been given a sentence. The sentence is going to be in either active or passive voice. You're supposed to change its voice. So one of these 4 will give you the correct changed voice for the sentence. And that one is going to be your answer. So 21. So I have one answer from Ankit. Fantastic. Terrific. So the correct answer is indeed B. I deliberately kept it simple. It was the first question. So we know that in English we have this concept of a subject, right? A lot of people think that subject means doer. Subject means someone who performs the action. That is not right. Subject does not mean a doer. Okay. Even a non-doer can be the subject. So subject can be a doer or a non-doer. For example, if I say Ram kicked the football, who's the doer? Ram. What is the subject? Ram. But I can also say the football was kicked by Ram. In that case, the doer is still Ram, but the subject is football. So whenever you see a sentence where the doer happens to be the subject, we call that active voice. And when you have a sentence where you do have a doer, but the doer is not the subject, then we call that sentence a passive voice sentence. Then normally when you want to go from active voice to passive voice, there are 3 steps involved. First is subject and object flip-flop. You need to have an object in order to convert a sentence from active to passive. The second thing that we do is that we add a by before the former doer or before the doer. And then finally, we add be plus verb's third form. So be basically means is, am, are, was, were, be, been or being along with the third form of the verb. And in case you already had some other helping verb, that will perhaps also remain. Right? So here comes the next question. What's your answer? Once again, the deal is give me 6 answers and I start discussing. रियल एस्टेट बिजनेस ऐसी चलती है यार जिंदगी. हाँ, कभी अर्श पर, कभी फर्श पर, कभी तेरे दर, कभी दर बदर. गमेश तेरा शुक्रिया तूने कहाँ पहुंचा दिया. तो यहाँ गमेश नहीं, गमे जॉब. गम भी नहीं एक्चुअली, प्लेजर ऑफ टीचिंग. हाँ, answers guys, answers. So I have received answers from Ankit and Daphne, Mohit, Devendra. Fantastic. Conscious matters, Dinesh. Okay, so the correct answer here is B. Just keep this one basic thing in mind, that when we go from active voice to passive voice, we do not change the tense. When we go from active voice to passive voice, we do not change the tense. We keep the tense the same. Okay. And when it comes to modal auxiliary verbs, what is the difference between can and could? One of the differences is that could is the past form of can. So here it is in present tense. If you use could in its place, you have in a way changed the tense. You've gone from present to past. That is wrong. That is why options A and C can both be ruled out. You'll still use can. But between B and D, B is right because option D is missing out on the B. Can these equations be solved? Remember, you need to have is, am, are, was, were, be, been, being, one of these for sure. So do not change the tense. Every tense has an active voice structure and a passive voice structure. When you change, you simply move over to the passive voice structure. You will not change the tense. And if your sentence has a modal auxiliary verb, you will not start using the past form of that. You will retain it as it is. Okay. Here is the next one. So far I gave you 2 sentences that were, so one sentence which was assertive, then a sentence which is interrogative, a question, and now I am giving you a sentence that is imperative. Right? So I'm just trying to expose you to as much variety as I possibly can, considering that we are covering the entire general English bit. So imperative sentences are those sentences through which you issue commands, requests, or instructions. Okay, I have 4 answers so far. So the thing with imperative sentences is that the subject is hidden there. In imperative sentences, the subject is you and it is implicit, it is hidden, it is not written. So there are 2 ways in which we create passive out of imperative sentences. One way is where we start it with let. Okay, one way is where we start with let. Okay, so that's one. The other is where you start with you. So you can say you are requested or commanded to whatever XYZ, right? So we don't have this particular variety or variation available in answer choices. So the other one is starting with let. So answer has to be either B or D. Which one of the 2 should we pick up? We use being when the original sentence happened to be in continuous tense. But is it the continuous tense? Does the verb have an ing here? No. Therefore, B will be wrong. The correct answer must be option D. Right? Nikita ma'am, are you still with us in this session? Unfortunately, I did not really write the SNAP yesterday. I wrote the IFT instead. And some people at the beginning were asking me about some compound word thingy. So I don't remember what it was. In fact, we couldn't even catch up after the exam yesterday. I had a fairly long day, but maybe you can drop in a message, or even better, take a session soon. The next one, question number 24. What's your take? 6 answers and we discuss. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. A, C, A, C. A versus C. A lot of you are using A versus C. Hang on. So I tricked some of you. When you say many when you say many notice it is followed by a singular noun and a singular verb. So many singular noun, singular verb. Look at A. Many a tree where. That going by subject verb agreement, that is wrong. So the rest of it is right though, but I managed to trip some of you using subject verb agreement, and that is why C is the correct answer choice. Some of you also picked up D. Many a tree is. You notice the sentence is in past tense. He climbed many a tree when he was a boy. So many a tree was climbed. D changes the tense, and that is why it is incorrect. Okay. And since nobody has picked up B, I'm skipping it. Okay, here is the last active passive voice question for you on your screen. Let's see what you choose. Your plea has been accepted and they will assign you a good lawyer soon. Answers, guys, answers. Okay, well, Dinesh has opened the innings for this particular question. Closely followed by Bhumika, Devender, Conscious Matters, and Jaisuman. These are the top 5. And the answers coming out are A, B, C. Ole, ole, ole. Why am I actually saying this? Oh, that's the old World Cup song, remember? Un, dos, tres. Okay, so question number 25. Notice that there are 2 clauses here. Clause 1 and clause 2. Now, clause 1 is in passive voice, which means that you need to convert this part into active voice. And clause 2 is in active voice. The doer happens to be the subject here. So the first part is your plea has been accepted. So the active voice for this will be they have accepted your plea, and we know it is they because of the next clause, right? So they have accepted your plea. They have accepted your plea. Your plea has been accepted. We failed to change the voice of the first clause. So C can be eliminated. D says someone have 2 problems. Number 1, we know that they should be preferred thanks to the second clause. And number 2, someone is singular. You cannot use have after it. So D is also ruled out. Now let's focus on the second clause. They will assign you a good lawyer soon. A good lawyer will be assigned to you. Right? In option A, we have forgotten to change the voice of the second clause. That is why the right answer will be option B, and a lot of you eventually have managed to get this right. Okay, moving over to the next concept from which questions get asked in the exams. It's somewhat similar. You know active passive voice, but then you also know direct indirect speech. Change of narration. So you notice direct speech when you quote someone else as it is. And then there are times when you convert what he said into your own words as indirect speech. Not exactly in your own words, as in you just make some changes. So for example, there is a very famous, very legendary dialogue from, what should I say? तुमसे ना हो पाएगा. नहीं. और धर्मेंद्र जी's dialogue, यार, I was watching his interview the other day. ना कुत्ते कमीने मैं तेरा खून पी जाऊंगा. जैसे धर्मेंद्र said कुत्ते कमीने मैं तेरा खून पी जाऊंगा, और आई कैन से अरे धर्मेंद्र जी ने ये बोला था कि कुत्ते कमीने वो उनका खून पी जाएंगे. So you notice those kind of changes. That's basically it. Pranav, if the question asks you what is the passive form, okay, so if you have a sentence that contains a doer and a transitive verb, then when the doer happens to be the subject of the sentence, it is active form or active voice. Passive voice will be when the doer is not acting as the subject in that sentence. It is the object of the verb which acts as the subject here. Okay. Vidushi, I did not notice using they 2 times somewhere. If we've done that, then maybe, I don't know. I'll have to go back and see. So you know direct indirect speech, right? Or simply put, there are sentences where you have something stated within quote marks. When you remove the quote marks and state it, you call that indirect speech. So let's start with an easy question. 6 answers. Give me 6 answers and we'll start. Oh, with 2 clauses, Pranav, they can ask. Absolutely, they can ask you. They can give you 2 clauses in passive forms, passive voice. So you change both of them into active. Why worry? I mean, once you know how to do it, it becomes very easy. Oh, Vidushi, oh, in the previous question option, those 2 days are all right. Yeah? Nothing wrong with that. Grammatically, nothing wrong. You can probably call it wordy, but grammatically, it was all right. So we have answers from Ritika and Daphne and Dinesh, Devendra. Conscious Matters. Conscious Matters, what's your name? Yaar? Share that so that I can at least use the right name. Sonia. And we have numbers too now. 5077. B. Shresh Shah. अबे ये roll number section सारा डाल दिया क्या? Okay. So the correct answer for question number 26 is C. So see, what do we do? When we convert a direct speech into indirect speech, we remove this comma, we remove the quote marks, right? And if this sentence happens to be an assertive sentence, we introduce a conjunction called that. Fair enough? Now we change the tense. See, in active passive voice, we do not change the tense. However, in direct indirect speech, we do. So we go back by a tense. How? If the sentence within the quote marks is stated using simple past, then in the indirect speech, we'll change it into what? So within the quote marks, if the sentence is in simple present, change it to simple past. Present continuous, change to past continuous. Present perfect, change to past perfect. Okay, but what if your sentence is already stated using simple past? Then you start using past perfect. And when it comes to future tense, the will or shall, instead of will or shall, we start using would. Or if you see any other modal auxiliary verb, you would once again start using the past form of that modal auxiliary verb. So you'll simply take it back by a tense. So I did not commit this crime. You notice this is simple past or past indefinite. So once you remove the quote marks, you need to use past perfect tense, and we have that past perfect tense in option C. Option B also has it, but then the difference between the two is this versus that. So you notice expressions like this and these are supposed to be turned into that. Those, some of those time expressions, they also change. So that is what made C better than B. The other two were not using the right tense. In fact, A is not even using a valid tense. So that is why C. No, A is using the valid tense, sorry. D is not using a valid tense structure, valid sentence. We are using have with he, so that's obviously wrong. Okay, next one. So what about this? Quick. Okay, Shrey has shared the answer. Set the ball rolling. Wow, I think a lot of you have actually gone through grammar. Yeah, B is correct. The previous question I told you that we change the tense, but if you have a universal truth or a proverb within the quote marks, we do not change the tense. We let it be as it is in simple present. Okay, so B is the right answer indeed. Okay, how about this question? Yeah, I see that, Biswajit. I'm sorry, yeah, I read that, but I forgot to acknowledge. I should have. That's better. Now I know what to call you. Okay, so Shrey and Rohit and Dinesh happen to be a top three. Pranav, two more answers, guys. Two more answers. Come on. And Devender and Shabaz. Okay, so tell me something. Should I change the tense of the part within quotes here or not? In this particular sentence, should I change the tense of the part which is inside the quote marks? When this verb is in the past tense, you change the tense of what is within the quote marks. But when this verb happens to be in the present or the future tense, then we do not change the tense of the part which is within the quote marks. So right now we are using present perfect here. How do we know it? And you remember the examiner has asked us these questions too, where he'd offer you a sentence and ask you for the tense. So whenever you see has or have plus verbs third form, has or have is helping verb plus verbs third form, it's present perfect. So because we are not supposed to change the tense, I can eliminate option A. That's past perfect. B has the same tense. C, film was seen by her before. That's passive voice. Why are we converting into passive? She saw. That is simple past. We have once again changed the tense. That is wrong. We shouldn't do that. And that is why the correct answer here should be option B. Okay. Here comes the next question for you. This time around, an interrogative question, an interrogative sentence within the quote marks. Answers, guys, answers. Lot of you are sharing it. Oh, I like that. So the correct answer here is, I can go with the majority here safely, D. So whenever there is a question, we change this verb into asked or inquired, okay, something along those lines. And then, questions are of two types: open-ended questions and close-ended questions. Open-ended questions will start with one of those WH words or how. Remember what, when, where, why, which, who, and how. Those 7 words are used to create questions. So these are open-ended because you can say whatever you want to say as your answer to these questions. But then you also have close-ended questions where your answer is going to be yes, no, or I don't know. For example, and these questions do not start with a WH word or how. For example, are you in college? Are you at your house? Is your neighbor still awake? Is somebody playing loud music? These are close-ended questions. So whenever you have an open-ended question, this word starts acting as a conjunction. You do not add any other conjunction, right? On the other hand, if you have a close-ended question within the quote marks, you are supposed to use if or whether as your conjunction. But for open-ended questions, you don't need a conjunction. So A can be eliminated. B, he asked me, where was the post office? Look at this. Now, is it a question? We are using a full stop right now. In a question, we write the helping verb before the subject. In a normal affirmative or negative, declarative sentence, the helping verb comes after. But in B, although we have converted this question into an assertive sentence, we are still using the helping verb before the subject, which is wrong. C, he wanted to know where is, once again the same problem. Moreover, we forgot to change the tense, right? Simple present should be converted into simple past, and that is why D was our best answer. Thank you, Vidushi. I hope Vidushi and the others who are finding it useful and you like working with me, do press the like button so that I at least know that we are working together. Here is the next one, 30th. And in case you need more inputs on one of these areas, if you have more confusion, just keep sharing that. If we are not able to cover it today, we can cover it later. And after taking you through this question, I will talk about the sentence order. Somebody asked about it at the beginning, so let's answer that. But before it, here is your last direct indirect speech question. You cannot bathe in this sea, he said to me. It is very rough. Thank you, Rohit. Thank you. Yeah. These things mean a lot to us. Okay, so first up, whenever you notice he said to me, said to is always converted into told. So you notice said, said, and said. At this level itself, I can rule out the other 3 answer choices. Should have been he told me. In indirect speech, we always change said to into told. We do not retain said to. Okay, so C. Moreover, said to past, which means that we needed to change the tense. Can should become could, right? Look at A. Look at D. Yet another reason to rule out these 2. Okay, so multiple angles that we could have explored. And moreover, it is should have been it was. And another problem with B is the use of wrong conjunction. We use if as a conjunction when you have a close-ended question there. Okay, so taking a pause, and let me tell you about the standard order of sentences. Unfortunately, I don't have a question in this today based on this particular concept, but let me go ahead and share it with you. So the most basic syntax that we have in English is that your sentence has a subject and a verb. You need to have this much in order to create a sentence. Okay. Now, the verb that you have in that sentence can be a transitive verb. If it is a transitive verb, it will also have an object coming after it. So this is the basic syntax or the order of the elements in a sentence. But then, we can insert more things in a sentence. How? We can start describing this verb with the help of adverbs. So when you write different adverbs, you are supposed to follow a particular order or a sequence. Okay. So we use adverbs of manner first, then adverbs of place, then adverbs of time. Then there are times when we can use adjectives to describe the nouns present in the subject or the object. So you have to be mindful of the order of those adjectives too, right? So adjectives of category come before, so adjectives of, you remember you have adjectives of category, you have adjectives of quality, you have numbers acting as adjectives, you have articles, you have possessive adjectives. So you're supposed to arrange those adjectives in a particular sequence too. So whenever anybody asks you for a standard order, you basically looking for this syntax, plus if there are adverbs or adjectives involved, the correct sequence or order of those adverbs or those adjectives. Since I have not talked about the detail of the order of adjectives or adverbs, you can probably read it up, or you can look it up in a grammar book, or you can Google a royal order of adjectives and it will at least give you some additional input, right? And then Pranav says we need practice questions to solve. Where can we find questions for practice? Pranav, ever since the exams have gone online, yes, previous year questions have usually been tough to find out, although you still find out a lot of memory based questions here and there. But then remember, SNAP is general English. So wherever you find questions, fill in the blanks, especially the ones based on areas like prepositions, or fill in the blanks generally based on grammar. You can practice from there, and such questions actually get asked in a wide range of exams. You can look at all of those bank PO and bank clerk exams, RBI clerk exams. You'd find a lot of these questions there. SSC gives a lot of these questions. So you can probably tap into those resources as well. Additionally, we have 50 mocks to cater to the non-CAT exams. So if you've taken up that package, you would actually have enough to practice. Okay, so here are the directions for the 5. You'd once again have a fill in the blank, but remember the previous fill in the blanks that we did, they were more logic based. But this time around, I will give you questions which are a lot closer to the kind of questions that you can expect in the SNAP General English. And by now, do you know that we have wrapped up the SNAP General English twice? The paper asks 15, I've taken you through 30 already. So here is your question number 31 on the screen. So which one of these conjunctions is going to be the most appropriate conjunction for the blank? Your time starts now. Vidushi, TISNET English is usually quite easy. I mean, even the RCs would typically have direct questions. Vocabulary is the only area that at times troubles some people, but otherwise, I'd say an easy exam through and through. Okay. So we know that as a conjunction is used to offer a reason, provides a reason. This one here is used to offer an effect, conclusion, or consequence. Though introduces contrast, and since is once again provides a reason, but here he lost the key. This is a consequence of losing the key. This entire part, he couldn't get into his room, and that is why B is indeed the right answer. Vidushi, in TISNET, no. Not in TISNET. I mean, when I say they're not difficult, I'm saying as compared to exams like CAT and XAT. Okay? And that's because the questions are mostly direct. Sorry. Your next question. So, which word would you choose? You have one modal and then you have two relative pronouns. You have a conjunction. Let's see which one you go ahead and pick up. Wow. That was fast, huh? And correct, yes. So the correct answer here is indeed option D. And since all of you managed to get it right, it's okay. Okay, why do we use may? Remember modal auxiliary verbs? Their primary purpose is to show our attitude towards people or information. What's the primary purpose of may? Can you tell me the situations in which may is used? So may is used to show possibility, right? And may is also used for, can I say, seeking permission? And this particular use of may is considered quite formal. Seeking permission, absolutely. Daniel, seeking permission is a kind of request, but we don't exactly say that it is used for requests. Daphne, when you say uncertainty, it is possibility, yes. Okay, here is a question. What if somebody has used may to seek permission? Okay, what if somebody says, may I come in? What should we say as the answer? Yes, you may, or yes, you can? What should be the response to may I come in? Yes, you may, or yes, you can? Assuming that we want to allow that person, okay? We don't want to say dafe ho mata, not that. We don't want to say get lost. So may I come in? The answer to it, yes you may, yes you can. Okay, so the very first, the first two answers have picked up these two options. Now it all boils down to democracy. Let's see what the rest of you think. So far, 3 votes to may, 2 votes to can. Abhi, Sai, why did you delete your answer? Seriously, it's okay, man. Come on. Makes me more curious, in fact. So the correct answer is can, not may. Yes, you may basically means that, that's ambiguous. Yes, you can is correct. It means I don't have a problem. Now it's up to you. Okay. So when you respond to a sentence where may is used to seek permission, use can in the answer. Okay, next one on your screen. And your time starts now. अभी मैं चैट पढ़ रहा हूँ, मैं देख रहा हूँ यार, खाली just there are very few likes. What happened? What's wrong? Am I not doing something right? एग्जिस्टेंशियल क्राइसिस हो गया यार, मैं तो सोच रहा हूँ भाई ऐसा सेशन चल रहा है अपना, हे भगवान, लाइक वाइक कर दो यार, थोड़ी एनर्जी डालो यार. Okay, so the correct answer here is going to be option C. So you notice we are talking about colonies, neighborhoods, plurals. So we cannot use himself or it. They are singulars. So that agreement of number will not work. We cannot use it to refer to a plural noun, right? We cannot use himself to refer to a plural noun. So it had to be C versus D. And what is the difference between themselves and them? Both of them act as objects. However, themselves is called a reflexive pronoun. We use themselves as an object when the subject and object happen to be the same entity. Right? When it happens to be the same entity. So here, because they're the same entity, we prefer themselves over them. So for example, they should cook their meals themselves, right? So subject is they, the object will also be themselves. However, if the subject and object happen to be different entities and now you need an object, then you would go ahead and use them. Wait, Jai Suman, 56 people, 78 likes. Nah. You're thinking that there's just 56 people. They fixed 56 people right now. There are a lot of people who must have entered, gone through a few questions and then moved out. That's how the stats work, really. Yes, blocked and blockaded are different, Vidushi. When you block, you prevent somebody else from coming in. Blockaded, you kind of creating a protective barrier, going by this particular sentence. Here is the next one. So, your time starts now. I've already kind of shared the concept for it a little while ago. If you were there, you'd know. Let's see what you choose. Okay. Sai, terrific. That's our first answer. What about the rest of us? So look at the tense. I have been writing. Present perfect continuous. This tense requires a part, a segment that starts with since or for. And therefore C and D can be ruled out. And I'd already told you duration for, point of time, since. And that is why the correct answer here is A. Here comes the next one. I'll give you a bit of extra time before I start the timer. So take 10 more seconds. Sorry, I forget to start the timer occasionally, huh? Okay. All right. So the correct answer here is D. I actually see a lot of people use discuss about something, but this structure is wrong. We do not use about here. In fact, we do not use any preposition. You know why? Discuss is a transitive verb. So what is a transitive verb? It is a verb that must have an object coming after it. You have to have an object coming after it. So the moment you put a preposition in between, then the part that comes after will become the object of the preposition. It will cease to be the object of the verb. So whenever you use a transitive verb, you need to ensure that no other preposition comes between that verb and the verb's object. So in fact, We don't need to put anything here. Discussing such varying mundane environments is going to be the right answer. Sangeeta, absolutely. Spot on. Okay. No, Pranav, I gave extra time because it was a longer sentence. Besides, I mean, you do get around 40 seconds. You can afford to take around 40 seconds, up to 40 seconds in English questions, although you wouldn't need them. Okay, so with that, let's move over to our next segment, right? I am not going to give you the directions for these two questions. I'll show you an image which will contain a hint on what those questions are going to be about. So you tell me what those questions are going to be about. Here is that picture. Tell me. So what are those questions going to be about? Yes. Sai, you are absolutely close. Daphne, I've already taken you through quite a few grammar-based questions, but yes, this time around we are dealing with spelling errors, as you can see, right? So we do get these questions where the examiner tests our spelling, and here are a couple of questions based on this. So here is the first one. Select the incorrectly spelt word. I'll give you bonus marks if you can also share the correct spelling, and even better, no, that's you'd also get a star if you give me the meanings of the words. Fantastic, Sai. Fantastic. Fabulous. Fast. Huh? That's nice. See, at least we don't have much time in SNAP, right? 60 minutes, 60 questions. You want to save that time to solve some of those quant and DLR questions as well. So it's important for us to go through the English section fast. Man, Pranav, your comment has cracked me up. Huh? The question is find the location. Seriously, dude. The correct answer is D. And the correct spelling here is liable. B-L-E. Okay, so laudable means commendable, praiseworthy. Laughable is laughable, right? Something that causes laughter. Lamentable is something that is deplorable, something that is bad, and therefore you need to maybe criticize it. Then you have liable, of course. Liable means you're responsible for something, or generally responsible for something, yes. Here comes the next one. Select the incorrectly spelt word from the ones that are given to you. Okay. Oh, so Sai. Great. Sai is on fire when it comes to hitting the keyboard, huh? All right, and he also managed to get the bonus marks. By the way, the correct answer is B. Accommodating is supposed to have two M's. So you need to add one more M. Let's quickly look at the meanings. Something is accumulative if it increases in number or amount gradually. And then you have accommodating. A person is called accommodating when that person is very eager or willing to help others, is willing to adjust so that he can, or is willing to change his or her own plans in order to ensure that others are not inconvenienced. Such a person is called accommodating. Then acquiring is acquiring, and then aromatic is something which is fragrant, something which has aroma. Or you remember there's this one aromatic thing that a lot of us are familiar with. Can you smell this? You recognize the smell, right? Khushbudar antiseptic cream Borolene. Now the other three spellings were otherwise correct, so the answer is B. So अच्छा लग रहा है ना मेहनत करके, सेंस ऑफ अकम्पलिशमेंट आ रहा है ना, ऐसे ही आता है यार मेहनत करने से, पता है. You keep putting in that effort and even the biggest things become easy for you. But that's where we stop today. Here is a thought that I wanted to share with you before I sign out. Any fool can know. The point is to understand. And a reminder that we have a lot of mocks for these other management entrance tests. Don't forget to write those. And if you know people who are preparing for CAT 23, do ask them to check us out, and I'm sure they thank you for it. So that's it from me tonight. Is there anything else that you want to ask? Any question, any issue, any concern, any area which is bothersome and you want me to go ahead and address that? Anything guys, anything. Do you want more practice of a specific area? We have our teammates also who are looking into the comments, and they will ensure that we do create some such sessions for you. Thanks a lot. Thank you. I'm really glad that you liked it. Thank you, Daphne. Thank you, Pranjul, Shabaz. So that's it from me today. Have a great evening, and I look forward to meeting you real soon. Throughout the year, I teach people, and when the exams come, I pray for them. So I'll pray to the Lord, and I really hope and believe that you are going to be at your best during the day of the exam, right? So go out, have fun in life and in the exam. Until we meet next, I'm noting down the topics that you're sharing, okay? Idioms, direct, indirect speech. Some of you wanted standard word order, prefix, suffix. I'll have you covered. We'll include those in our next session on the exams, right? In this series. And we'd also have this ZAT specific series starting soon. And I forgot to tell you that we have an open mock for ZAT going on. You must write that as well, right? So that's it. Have fun. Stay safe. Stay focused. Stay in touch.